Hello, welcome to my new video of the next 2 days. I'm going to make a pencil bowl. I've made two of these before and they've been okay. I've been particularly happy. I've had a few problems. This is the first one I made. I'm not going to, you can see where I've had to join on a piece of timber in the bottom because it fell off the lathe or broke off the lathe. So, and I've got a few problems with bubbles. So I'm going to make a new one. I'm going to try and hopefully have not many bubbles. A solid lump of oak on the bottom, a decent ring on the top, but it's a bit laborious because you have to make the blank with resin, cut the pencils, then put on the lathe and turn it. So I'll film the individual bits and hopefully at the end we'll see what it looks like. So I'm kind of hoping I can do a better job than this one. Okay, there's loads of people doing these. I've seen people online doing them. Nick Zammit does them. NZ Woodturning, he does fantastic ones. I see Keith Barrow do, although Keith tends to glue his together and do segments, which are amazing. But I like this sort of style. It's rough, looks a bit thrown around. So yeah, we'll see how we get on. Okay. Okay, so I've cut a lump of oak. I'm going for quite a deep base because in the past I've done quite shallow bases, and as you tape them off, I've cracked the mortise joint in them. So I'm going to go for quite a deep one and have less pencils, but I'd rather do that than risk blowing the thing off the lathe. This one is 1.5 inches, so it's be fine. This is the pot I'm using as a mold, so it's tapered, the pot, as you can see, which it's quite nice actually because it gives you a nice design at the end, or a nice shape. I don't try and shape it too much. I kind of just take the shape down from this, and it tends to work it quite nicely. As you can see, I've roughly cut it, so I'm just going to round that off the lathe, take it on off a few times, and try and get a nice tight fit in the bottom. The better the fit in the bottom, the less epoxy I'll lose into the bottom, and the neater it'll be really. So we'll put this in the lathe and just turn it around. I'm just going to put it between centres, just get it round with a bit of an angle on it. And that's it. Okay, let's get it done. So that's the blank turned around. A bit rough. It's a bit smaller than I wanted, but to be honest, for the amount of epoxy I'll lose on it, I don't particularly mind. We'll stick it in and see how we go, or will we? A bit. You know what? I'm not particularly happy with that. Okay, so I've done a second one actually because the first one was a bit loose and I didn't want to waste the epoxy, so that'll go back on the shelf and be used for something else. But you can see I've tapered it slightly and that fits my mold perfectly. Sorry, I have a monkey in the shed with me. Say hi.
Hi. Hi.
What's Daddy doing today?
Making a bowl.
What type of bowl?
I don't know.
Pencil bowl.
Yeah, pencil bowl.
Okay, so that's that done. Now we're going to go cut some pencils up.
How
Fill it here with the pencils,
hey,
then epoxy.
asking no question. How do you turn this off?
Press the red button.
Oh, okay.
Right, so we're going to go cut some pencils up and we'll come back to you in a few minutes.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, so I've cut the pencils up, which you can see there, stuck them in the bowl. So lots of different sizes, try and give it a bit of a mix there. We're going to mix up the epoxy now. and pour it in. This is the kind of tricky bit. The epoxy has a 2-to-1 ratio. It comes in part A and part B, which you can see there. But you have to be very precise with the measurements. The other tricky bit is you tend to get air bubbles when you're mixing this stuff up. So what I'm going to try and do is mix it really slowly before I put it in, try and minimize the amount of air bubbles I get going in there. Hopefully that'll do the job. And then once it's done, I'll put a top on it, weigh it down, so the pencil's floating up, and give it 24 hours. Okay, so I think it's going to take a bit of time, so I'm going to put it on time lapse. Okay, I've just filled it up, and I've done something a bit different actually. I've actually put the top block back in the lathe, and basically put a hole through the top. The reason for this is the last couple I've done, I end up getting a few bubbles in towards the top, and the bubbles are getting caught as they come up. They're getting stuck under the plug I'm putting in the top. So my thought process is, by putting a vent really in the top, which I'm going to hollow out anyway, so that shouldn't be a problem. I should solve the problem by doing that. Now, I'm a little bit short on the epoxy. I'm going to mix up a little bit really quick and basically fill it up, not all the way to the top, but just enough so when I put it back in the lathe I can grip onto something. I'm kind of hoping that'll turn out pretty well. There's not many bubbles at the moment. If you look at it, it's looking pretty good. Can't see any major. There's a few little bubbles, but major compared to what I've had in the past. And once I have a bit more full, I'll put some weight in it and leave it overnight. But I'm going to mix with a little bit of epoxy, not a huge amount. Hopefully that'll do the job. Now, with this epoxy, it's 2-to-1 ratio, which you have to be pretty precise what you do. So I need a tiny little bit here, so I'm just going to do, I'll do an absolute tiny bit if I can. So I'll take this off. So be really careful how you weigh it. So 2-to-1 ratio yet again. I'm going to put it, now again, bubbles were the problem last time. I'm not overly concerned about it this time. So pour really, really slow. The slower you pour, and I think if you use the side of the cup as well, you've less chance of getting bubbles. What's that there? A little bit more, I think. Problem is, this is really expensive, so you don't want to really waste it if you can avoid it. But I don't want to be short either, so let's weigh that. We'll zero this. And we're looking at a weight of 103, so I'm going to need 51.5 of part B, which will bring me to, say, 154. So again, really, really slow. Close enough, 153. Right, let's do that. So again, mix. That's definitely too much, but I'll try and save it and do something with it. So we mix really slow. I'm happy that there's very few bubbles in there, but I don't want to introduce more bubbles when mixing it really hard. So I'll just mix it slow. Just through the top. I'll see if I can get a better angle. It's a bit of a waste of epoxy, I suppose, doing this, because it's just going to be a plug of epoxy, but I'd rather have that. Right. Now, you can see there, I'm kind of hopeful we won't get any air bubbles with this one. So I'm going to go put it on the bench, put a few blocks on top of it overnight, although it's not going to move, I can see that much anyway. And then we'll come back. Okay, so I've filled the last bit of epoxy up. I've stuck 2 big lumps of, it's a Rocco on top, so that's nice hard wood. So the idea behind that is just, although I've taped it down, I don't expect it to move. It's just try and keep that as level as I can, although I don't think it's completely level, but I'm not overly worried. If I try and move that much more now, it'll cause more problems. but that will help keep it down, because those pencils will want to float in that epoxy. It just naturally wants to float. So it's looking pretty good. Like, I can't see many bubbles. I think so. I think taking it nice and easy paid off. So we'll give that 24 hours, let that go off, and then we will turn it. Okay. Okay. Been 2 developments since the pot was left in resin yesterday. 2 major developments, both bad. First is I've shaved off my beard. Don't know why. I was in the bathroom and just moment of madness, and then I realised after I shaved it off why I grew a beard, because my head is just very, very round without a beard. So that's disaster number 1. Disaster number 2 is I ended up with lots and lots of bubbles. Now, I don't know why this has happened. I suspect, well, actually I think I do know why. If you look at the bottom of the bowl, you can see where there's a couple of mil of resin on the bottom. I think what's happened is, as the bottom piece of the bowl, or the pot, that 1.5 inches of oak was put in the bottom, it didn't go all the way to the bottom, and it ended up a little bit proud. And over time, when I left it yesterday, there was no bubbles. I think what's happened is the resin's worked its way down the sides, the air's come back up, and that's where all the air is there. And once it's got up there, it's kind of got stuck and had nowhere to go. It's weird, because it's almost like it's expanded. That central plug was down by a couple of mil. When I came in today, a block of Oroco put on top was stuck to the top. So, yeah, 2 bad things. I have lots of bubbles. I'm still going to turn it. Nothing else I can do with it, really, but it's actually the worst I've seen the bubbles, to be honest. I think I'm going to have to really invest in a pressure pot. And then we've the disaster of this. So, yeah, not a good day. But let's stick it on, let's turn it, and let's see what happens. Okay, that's been a slow going. I've got it hollowed out, and there's just lots of holes from these bubbles, which you probably can't really see from there, but I can't leave them. So I think what I'm going to do is try and fill them with super glue. I think I'll use an epoxy, but I don't know if that's going to be, maybe I could use 2-part epoxy. It's going to look pretty crap whatever I do, but I don't see as I have much choice. Okay, let's get it done. Okay, done. There's the finished bowl. Now, you can see we definitely had some bubbles, particularly there. I mean, am I happy with it? Not really. I'm not particularly overjoyed with it. It doesn't look as good as I wanted, but there's still some nice patterns in it. You know, that's cool there. I mean, if the bubbles weren't in it, it would have looked amazing. But, you know, it is what it is. Had to be turned. It's a nice shape. I've actually gone for a bit of a kind of curve, or a little bit of a more of a curvy shape than I wanted to. But I was trying to get these bubbles out, but as you're chasing them, you're just making more bubbles. So, yeah, but there you go. Took a bit longer than I expected, but yeah, it's not bad. It's literally for pencils, so it's a pencil bowl. Of course, you can't find a pencil when you want one. So, yeah, it's nice. Yeah, I think I really need to invest in a vacuum pot. Try and get those bubbles out, because it would look amazing. The bits where there aren't bubbles, if you can find one, like there, it looks pretty cool. Particularly when you see the light coming through it. So yeah, it's not bad. Like, I mean, for the third attempt, I'm happy enough. There's a mark at the bottom. I'll take some still pictures at the end and stick it on the very back so you can see it. The oak turned out really nice. This bit in the top turned out really nice, actually. Yeah, so that's it. One pencil pot. So didn't manage to salvage that. Still not happy with the beard, or lack of beard. So hopefully, I think, in hindsight, I think when I shaved my beard off, I cursed it. That's what I think happened. I think I lost my mojo. So hopefully, as the beard comes back, the next one will be more successful. Problem is, it's going to take a while to grow the beard back. Right, so there we go. Hopefully you like it. If you do, thumbs up would be nice. I've only started the channel, so this is my second video. So it'd be nice to have a few subscribers, someone like it. Yeah, so that's it. Comments would be appreciated, good or bad. If you don't like it, let me know. Tips would obviously be very good. Tips on how to grow a beard faster would be even better. But that's it. Right, thanks for watching. I'll put some stills at the end, and appreciate it. Thanks.